Hello, let's needlepoint, start my second needlepoint project and get to know each other. So my name is Tiffany. I'm 27, almost 28 years old, and I live in the Wilmington, North Carolina area. I am a new grad physical therapist who works in outpatient, kind of a mix of ortho and neuro with heavy peds-based clientele. I graduated from PT school in May, and I would like to thank Mel Robbins for it's not the courage, it's definitely not the courage, but for kind of hightailing it to be like, okay, if you want to do something, do it. So for years, I had talked about starting a YouTube channel. I was like, oh, once I graduate from undergrad, which was in 2019, graduated high school in 2015. I graduated undergrad in 2019 with a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science, minor in Psychology from Appalachian State University, the best school out there. And I was like, oh, okay, so when I graduate, I'm finally gonna start a channel. And yeah, but then I'm a very introverted person, so I got nervous and I got that anxiety. So I was like, other people are gonna think things of me, and I don't want that. Plus, I hate the way I talk. I hate hearing my voice. So this should be interesting, especially if this ever sees the light of day. But then I was like, okay, once I get into PT school, because it was like a journey for me to get into PT school, like, it was a challenge mentally and that process. So I was like, okay, once I get in, then I'm gonna start, because I'm gonna start a channel and like just go through like PT school together, and we can just like deal with it all and like build a community of like-minded individuals. And then again, I just got too scared because I was like, well, what if people from my class like find me, and that's like embarrassing. But then I was like, okay, so once I graduate PT school, that's it, because I'll never see most of the people I graduated with from physical therapy school ever again. And then I was like, but I've got to study for the NPTE. So but here we are. I graduated in May, and here we are in January. What, like 8 months later? Yeah, and it is all due to Mel Robbins going on this Skinny Confidential podcast that, like many other thousands of people, that podcast like episode changed my life. Not in like a dramatic way, but I don't know, it just kind of gave me like the courage to be like, okay, you gotta get out and do it, because if you want to do it, like, it's not just gonna fall from the sky. No one's gonna do it for you, so you might as well try. And what's the worst thing that happens? I mean, life is all about challenges and getting back up again. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what we're trying out. So yeah, I'm almost 28 years old. I live in the Wilmington, North Carolina area. Lived in North Carolina my whole life, except for one of my clinical rotations during physical therapy school. I lived in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. It was not an exciting place. It was fun though. But yeah, and I have been a employed physical therapist since September 3rd of 2024. And it's been a roller coaster going from school to the working field. Like, they prepare you in school, PT school, in my opinion, and then talking with other classmates, PT school is basically to prepare you to pass the boards. The boards are, I would go through all of PT school again rather than having to take the boards again. Like, that was the most stressful time leading up to it. I pretty much isolated myself, and all I did for 3 months was just stare at a book and study, and it was not good for my mental health. Plus, it was also a challenging familial time, but I digress. So yeah, I've been a YouTube subscriber for, my gosh, since like probably middle school. I remember One Direction, they had like a live stream, and I like to say I'm one of like the first people who discovered like One Direction in like where I was living in North Carolina, because no one had heard about them, and I was like watching this live stream that they were on, and it was like all day, and yeah. But I still am an avid YouTube watcher. I literally, that is what my morning schedule is. I wake up, get ready, have breakfast. During breakfast, that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting there watching a YouTube video. My favorite YouTubers are Brooke Michio. She is my all-time favorite. And then of course, Danielle Carolyn. I am an avid Gals on the Go podcast listener. I went to their live show in Charlotte last February. Wish they were coming back to North Carolina again, but that's okay. I also I love me some Lauren Norris. She's stunning, first of all. And I don't know, her personality, like, it just welcomes you in, and she just makes you feel like so happy and so good. I also love Kenzie Elizabeth. Hence, in my needle pointing era, I was all tangent. One thing about me, I can't tell a story. So yeah, many tangents. My first project that I completed, I have not finished it. I'm trying to self-finish it into an ornament. Got the supplies actually today, but I'm just terrified to do it. But I also don't want to send it off because I didn't realize finishing needle pointing projects basically costs as much or more as your needle pointing stuff. Like, I think like the place where I was looking at getting it finished, it starts at $50, and I was like, I think I can do that. I'm not a crafty girl though, so we shall see. But yeah, my life pretty much consists of, tangent again, other YouTubers that I watch besides Brooke and Lauren and Danielle and Kenzie, and also Abby Aslin and Clara, love Clara, Katie Bellotti, Maddie Westbrook. Yeah, just like the regular lifestyle creator girlies who are in like the same age demographic as me, because it is comforting to watch and it feels like we're friends, and I like that, especially because at the moment, so I moved here to the Wilmington area in September, or in the end of August. Making friends has not been a priority of mine, and let's just say it really should have been, because especially like as an introverted person, I have a hard time making friends in general, and especially when like you're new somewhere. But once I moved here, I was like, oh, like I just want to get in a good routine for work and like just get settled for work, and then like the friends and stuff will come later. But it has not really. I mean, thankfully, like I love my coworkers, and I am at a place that it literally does feel like you work with family, not in a toxic way, like in a very comfortable way, and in a way that like I would love to like work here for many years to come. Knock on all the wood for personal reasons, of course, but yeah, I just love it. And so I was like, oh, well then you get the weekends and you only get 2 days, because my schedule is 9:30 to 6 Monday through Friday. And yeah, I'm like, I'm so tired once I get done from working a full week. I don't want to go out and be social and like start new relationships and stuff, but that's just like something that's really on my like goals. Kind of one of my goals for 2025 is just to make friends and build a community here, especially a faith-based community, because it's also been very hard in the area that I'm in. It's outside of Wilmington, but to find a good church community, I've never had this hard of time finding a church that I felt comfortable going to and just like really enjoyed. I think I am like at a really good one right now, and I'm hoping to like build community there and build relationships and stuff and just help foster like a good, getting back in a good relationship with the Lord, because like with the lack of friendship and the lack of community, I've also become distant from the Lord, which it's not really something that of course it's not something I'm proud of. Who's proud of that? But it's also been a hard time the end of August to September family-wise, and so I'm like, well, why do I want to try and build relationships when they probably won't end out well? And that's not a good mindset to have. And I've been in therapy to know that's not a good mindset to have. So yeah, just trying to change that now. What else? I'm very active. I ran my first half marathon the week after I graduated from physical therapy school. It was one of the hardest things I've done. 2024 was overall like the hardest year I've had, but I don't know if another year is gonna beat 2024. Like, I graduated physical therapy school. I became a doctor of physical therapy. I ran my first half marathon. I passed the MPTE on the first time, which I was so stressed about passing. I got a job. Like, I finally have an income after 3 years of not. Like, it's going to be hard to beat 2024, and I'm open to it, because also another fun fact about me, I am 27, almost 28 years old, and I have never been in a relationship, and that's something too that it's a mental struggle. But I also feel like I've gotten I've gotten comfortable in it. So I'm like, I love my independence, like having to think of, like, I love just like doing whatever I want to do, especially like on the weekends and stuff. Like, I woke up this morning 6:30, got up earlier for a hot Pilates class than I do for work, and I feel like one of the Lord's strongest soldiers. Yeah, but like, I just got up, went to the class, come back, like hung out, got ready, and then went into Wilmington to like pick up my threads, to, like pick up other like crafting supplies. And yeah, would I love someone to share doing those activities with? Of course. Would I love someone to talk to like every day? Absolutely. Like, one of my strongest desires in this life is to get married. Interestingly enough, as a pediatric physical therapist, I have no desire to have children. I think that's due to, in one of my psychology classes in undergrad, we watched a birthing video, and I genuinely felt like I got sick almost. Like, I didn't get sick, but like I saw stars and I thought I was gonna pass out. And I was like, this is not a journey that I am meant to be on. So yes, I have no desire to have children, but I do have a very strong desire to find a godly man who will pursue me and that we could create a life with together. But also something that's terrifying is like, people ask you like when you get this age, or like after you graduate school and like you start your job and everything, they're like, oh, so like I'm guessing this is where you like you want to be, like live forever. And I'm like, I like the thought of living in one place for the rest of my life is like literally terrifying. Like, I don't know where I want to live. I always wanted to live in Texas, and I was actually like planning after PT school, like I was doing interviews at clinics and stuff in Texas. But when you graduate PT school or when you graduate from anywhere and you have no money, it's probably not the smartest decision to move basically on the opposite side, like halfway through the country. So yeah, clearly I'm not in Texas. I think that's still, I don't know, I used to like dream about it so much. Now I haven't really thought about it. Not in like I can never see myself living there, but in like I'm literally like living my dream right now. So yeah, I don't know. Other things, I love reading. I love me a good smut book. I'm reading, what's it called? I have no idea what it's called right now. But it's a book about an ex-football player, but I guess it's actually a soccer player because they're in England. Ex-soccer player who is writing a book and has a ghostwriter and stuff. And yeah, we all know how that's going to end up. But I love it. I think it's also because the lack of romanticness that I have in my life. I definitely, yeah, it's hard, especially I'm not proud of this, but on weekends, I do not talk to anyone. I don't spend the whole time in my apartment, but I'm like out doing errands and doing stuff, and I'm not really talking to people, which sounds terrible, but as I said, I'm an introvert, and my whole week, especially now because like my caseloads are really picking up at work, consists of talking to people and it is exhausting. And this isn't like a shocker. I got into healthcare and in the public field, like I knew what I was getting into. But yeah, more facts about me. I did not grow up always wanting to be a physical therapist. I actually grew up wanting to be an orthodontist, but during my junior year of undergrad, I was getting my shadowing hours in. I had plenty lined up, but I was like, no, like you can never have too many. So I was getting my shadowing hours in, and I was like, I'm so bored. Like, I'm just standing here looking at people's teeth, standing in like one spot for like hours on end, because I was with an older dentist who like still did things in like the old-fashioned way. And so like root canals and like just like any procedure took hours on end, and I was like, I'm bored. And then I was like, what can I do with an exercise science degree? So I literally Googled it. I was like, what can I do with an exercise science degree? Because I did not want to graduate. I wanted to graduate on time. I did not want to stay longer. I wanted on time or nothing. So I Googled it, and physical therapist was the first thing that popped up. And that was in like October. When I went back home, I set up some shadowing to do during my Christmas break. So in December, I shadowed. In December, I figured out that's what I wanted to do as a career. I really enjoyed my shadowing experiences. I mean, clearly. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And honestly, I did go to one physical therapy appointment. It's because I had knee pain. It turns out it was patellofemoral pain syndrome. The PT didn't tell me that. I figured that out when I was in PT school, long after I had no more knee pain. And yeah, it was eval only. He didn't actually prescribe PT for me, but yeah. And that was my only experience from PT. I'm not one of those who, oh, I tore my ACL when I was in high school, and that's what made me decide I wanted to be a PT. No, not my story. Yeah, I'm not mad about it. I think it's an interesting perspective, and I just knew I wanted to be in healthcare and to do something with exercise science. I wanted to be active because I've pretty much been active my whole life. So yeah, it just was not an easy decision to make, but it was one that felt good to make. It was not easy to get there or to get here. It was a challenging process, but for me at least, I'm very jealous of the ones who it was a rather easy process, but hindsight is always 20/20, and I'm very grateful that I had that challenge, that difficulty, because it really told me that that was what I wanted to do. And yeah, so here I am, been a whole physical therapist since September. I can't really multitask either. I'm enjoying it. I'm practicing the let them theory because just things at work are affecting me mentally. But that's okay. Imposter syndrome doesn't stop when you graduate. Sadly, it stays on. So yeah, that's me. Other interesting thing. I love Taylor Swift. I am an avid Swiftie. I went to Atlanta night 1 of the Eras tour. It was the best night of my entire life. I cry now that the Eras tour is done. And yeah, that's me. Yeah, but I am excited, if this ever sees light of day, to start this journey that I live. How many times can I say literally? Wanted to do for so many years, but I just got so focused on what other people would think, which is a common thing with all of us. But thank you, Mel Robbins, for giving me the not necessarily the confidence, but the gumption to do it. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Yeah, but I am going to, I guess, end it here, go back to my needle painting. But yeah, all right.